What a joy to play through this rig, man. It's tone for days, right? I can finally crank my Marshall Plexi without bursting my eardrums. And I can finally hook up a stereo delay pedal, even though my Marshall Plexi doesn't even have an FX loop. How does this work? All this thanks to my Reload 2 from 2 Notes. I know this sounds a little bit like a commercial, but I'm just excited. I bought this straight from France, and I can now dial in some stereo setups with only one amplifier, which is really, really cool because I am the only guitar player in all of my bands at the moment. So I'm always a sucker for some stereo sounds, you know. So I have a right sound as a single guitar player. Yeah, this is the new loadbox from 2 Notes. They built this one up brand new, straight up from scratch, in collaboration with Celestion, the legendary speaker brand. I don't know which load they are referring to in particular. I think it is a Celestion V30, because this is like the most common speaker on this planet. And yeah, this is also a stereo amplifier. So we have channel A and channel B, both have 250 watts of Class D solid state power. And then we have the stereo FX loop in the back, and of course also the line-ins for the XLR or jack, speaker, guitar, jack cable. You know what I mean. Regular guitar cables as well. So you can hook up your modelers, for example. You can take 2 small Tone X1 pedals and hook them both into the Reload 2 and hook up a stereo delay, for example. And then you have a sick, really sick live rig. Yeah. What's really cool about the Reload 2 as well is that I can hook up 2 cabinets. I have my Prometheus cabinet over here with 8 ohm FANE LCFR 150 speaker, and to my right side is my Marshall 1960 TV, so a tall vintage cabinet loaded with 16 ohm Greenback speaker, and both cabinets can be hooked up to my 8 ohm Marshall and my 8 ohm Reload 2. Of course you can change the impedance on this one. Impedance? Yes, impedance is the right word. And the rest of the rig is also my ZenRok Boo, loaded with a Seymour Duncan Distortion humbucker. And in front of these both cabinets are on my right side a SM57 in front of the Greenback, and in front of the FANE are, as always, another SM57 and my Neumann TLM 102. I also hooked up, just for fun, my MXR Black Label chorus. Can you see it on this camera? Yeah. For some really cool white sounds. Oh, I said sounds again. My girlfriend will mock me the rest of the day for this one. One last detail in this signal chain is that the Reload 2 is also hooked up directly into my interface, and I use the Genome suite, the plugin from 2 Notes, which is included in this one, so you don't have to buy this one separately. It is included, and I used this one in my DAW to put an impulse response in it. I also could use my Opus pedal, which is in the shelf right there, but I will show you this in another setup and video really, really soon. So let's get straight into the features. We have channel A, channel B, but first we have the amp in level, so if it's too low, you see these lights over here. And then channel A and channel B are basically the same. You have this giant retro looking knob over here to dial in the perfect amount of your cranked Marshall Plexi. All the settings are at maximum on this amp, except for the bass knob. And now I can play my Marshall in my living room, for example. And it sounds really, really good. And why is that? That's because of the Mojo switch over here, or this knob on the top. This one is supposed to push everything a little bit together, so it sounds a little bit like a compression for me going on. But it pushes everything a little bit to the right place, you know? Even though on low volumes, it sounds like you're moving some air and you have this, this chuck, this oomph, you know? This tube low-end oomph. I don't know how this will translate through the microphones, but now in the room it's really, really quiet. But it still sounds really, really good. It sounds exactly like it's cranked. It's just really, really cool. So the Mojo knob doesn't sound like much, but it's actually the secret sauce of this one for me personally, except for the stereo of X-Tube in the back. For me, it's a little bit like a saturation switch for the cabinets. And this switch works only on the cabinet, so it doesn't affect the line outs or whatever. I just have them always on, sounds so really, really good. And what's really, really cool about this Reload 2 is that they also have these excellent, no, not excellent, yes, excellent, but I wanted to say additional tone shaping controls, the depth and presence control on this one. So if all these are at 0, now only this cabinet. Yeah, some additional tone shaping features are always really, really needed. Alright guys, now that the Sigil is hooked up to the Reload 2, we can use this as an amplifier to make the Fortin Sigil even louder because of the 20 watts power amp section of this small head. That lacks a little bit of headroom, of course. So now we can dial in the sweet spot as we like with the master and make the amp even louder with the Reload 2 again. Then I also hooked up my Pink and Yellow from Lichtlaerm Audio just for some personal flavor, and I'm using my Solar GC 1.6 Killertone loaded with a Seymour Duncan Black Winter. And as you can hear, it lacks a little bit of volume. That's because we haven't dialed in our ambient level yet. This is still the level from the Plexi, because this 14 has a lower level in, so we dial this one up. sounds really, really good. I haven't heard this amp so loud ever. And still clear because we don't like get to the roof and limit of this headroom, you know what I mean? So, we have some additional shaping controls right here, so let's beef this little amp even more up. Alright guys, time to wrap this up because my camera over here just died. Apparently I am here for too long today. This has been the Reload 2 from 2 Notes for you guys. You will see this in a lot of upcoming demos from my special stereo rigs. So make sure to subscribe, click that bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye. Man. What a joy to play through the rig, man. Tone for days, right? I finally can crank. What a joy to play through this rig, man. Tone for days, right?